Hello, I'm Robbie here, and this is the sounding board.
I'm Brandon Holter. Our subject tonight is Bronies, pros and cons thereof. Robbie here represents the pros, and I represent the cons. So, without wasting any further time, you go ahead and start.
Well, how do you feel about bronies?
Yeah, it seems like it's pretty much just, the the next big random, internet fandom with all this other stuff. The next, Naruto, Bleach, the thing that you're going to see lots of, random internet stuff on for a while, and will last, who knows. And the thing about, that is that with the show itself, does it, stand on its own? Like, for you, example, would you, got into the show based only on its own merits? Like, if you, didn't get on the bandwagon, so to speak, with the, Bronies thing. You're just sitting there, flipping through the channels, and you happen to come across it. Watch it, will the show stand on its own, basically?
Well, the show is capable of standing on its own, but I personally don't think I would have gotten into it if it weren't for the internet stuff, because that's what sort of started me off and dragged me into it. But the show, I do believe, is more than capable of standing on its own merits.
Mm-hmm.
But are you willing to try the show?
Yeah, sure. I've seen a little bit of it. Like, you brought it here one day. I only saw the last end of it. It seems all right. I mean, like you said, it seems more if people are more interested in the, making parodies and such of it than its own. But from your perspective, as one is already in it, in general, are people more interested in the show itself, or just making weird parodies of it?
Well, I think people like the show, and that inspires them to want to create things of their own of it, whether that be fan fiction, artwork, anything of that nature. Do you think, what do you believe separates this Bronies from other fandoms like Trekkies and of that nature? What do you think is different from this?
Well, I can't really speak specifically on the whole Trekkie thing, since that was a little before my time in that. But right now, it really just kind of seems like it's just more in the spotlight as it is. Because if you look, you can find, the same kind of stuff of, just about anything. Right before the pony thing started up, you were seeing, Portal references as the cake is a lie everywhere and such, and now it's just moved on to, little horses. Now, on the subject of those parodies, though, would you really say that a lot of fans even actually like the show as it is? Because I can't help but notice a lot of the, fan arts, internet macros and stuff there, Frank is doing some pretty kind of creepy, weird stuff with them. From even just as light as things to making their own little fan characters, having their pony with like, a used condom here or a, bloody tampon as cutie mark to, let's just say, when I was finding some of these pictures down here, there's a lot of, pony porn. And not even anthropomorphized, I mean literally taking the ponies as is and doing some stuff I really could have gone without seeing. And then we get started on that whole cupcakes, fan fiction, turning it, going to, graphic detail, turning into a Sweetie Todd type thing, page upon page of talking about, Fluttershy, vivisecting.
Actually, it's Pinkie Pie,
Yeah.
cutting up Rainbow Dash, but,
Yeah.
every fandom's gonna have things of this nature happen to it. I mean, if you type in Star Trek, Star Wars, all that, the first thing that's gonna pop up is the porn. Let's be honest here.
May I step in for a minute?
Sure.
Robbie's wrong, because the truth is, if you type in Star Trek or Star Wars, the porn isn't the first to pop up. The first to pop up is standard images from the movies, the shows, whatever. The secondary thing, when you turn the filter off, will be the ones with the bigger amount of keywords. Usually for every 3 Star Trek or Star Wars images, there's 1 porn. Because Lucas makes sure the porn doesn't exist. Lucas guards his characters with integrity. but none of Star Wars figures characters vivisect each other. You've got to ask yourself what kind of sick fuck a brony is.
No, that's true.
And you read it, so what kind of sick fuck are you as a brony?
Well, I read it because I heard all this bad stuff about it. And
What kind of sick fuck are you that you read that story?
Yeah, it stopped, once it got...
When it makes Brandon gross, and you're giggling about it like a schoolgirl.
I suppose that does paint me in a pretty bad light.
Yeah.
I don't know what's worse about the fact that someone made a fanfic to begin with, or the fact that there's not only one, but like several, flash animations people have made that go to it, and musical numbers.
Because you got to look at it this way. How many years did it take the Flintstones just to get one image that says, "Oh my God, Barney, you're eating my Fruity Pebbles," and it's Barney cutting up pebbles.
Oh God, that's creepy.
You saw it on Tony's flash drive.
Oh yeah, that's right.
But that's one image. How many images of the Pony's head did you find like that?
I know, and it's only been around for a year.
Well, yeah.
For such a cutesy show, this thing has Rule 34. If it exists, there's porn out there.
Explain to Rule 34.
Yeah.
Breathe slowly, Brandon.
Okay, it's one of these jokes that's been around for a while, circulated around. It's basically this list of rules for the internet. It's kind of a bunch of things. One in particular that is number 34. It basically states, if it exists, there is porn of it. So it's kind of been used as a catch-all phrase for, porn of random subjects and stuff. But frankly, this show's only been around for a year, and there's mountains of it.
So, since the brony guy is kind of lost at the moment,
Yeah.
do you feel the bronies are doing it just to make up for their loss of Inuyasha, Naruto, Bleach, like you said earlier?
I don't...
Brandon?
Oh, maybe.
First.
So it's a lot of the stuff just seems kind of goes off on a tangent. Like, from what I see in the show, it's really cutesy, sweet, and all that stuff. It has some funny stuff and whatnot.
Do you think the bronies have problems with the cutesy, saturated, sugar sweet mentality of the show?
That actually brings up a good point. It's like they're they make some of the innuendo-laden or grim dark stuff to it to kind of legitimize it, I guess.
Unlike, let's say, He-Man and the Masters of the Universe, which does have the gay overtones, which does lend itself to a lot of gay internet humor.
But even then, you still see a good amount of just normal.
You just see it just on the Filmation show alone. There is none of this cutesy darkness in the My Little Pony show. So, Robbie, with this information coming to light about brony and brony kind, what do you feel about that?
Well, I don't think it's that dark. I don't think bronies are that horrifically sick. I mean, cupcakes, yeah, that happened, and a lot of
How many grotesque My Little Pony things have you read of them being dismembered?
only one.
What about the Dreadnought tearing it in half and go, this is how you take care of pony, rule 1. Rule 2s don't matter.
That was more anti-it.
That was-
No, that still goes in the same vein as that. Did they have to show the intestines of the pony
With the rainbow,
and make
yeah.
sure...
It was pretty good, because, in the show itself, this guy is closely we have to ultimate evil, and he makes Chocolate Rain and other just wacko land stuff. It's not.
And he's voiced by Q from
Yeah,
Star Trek The Next Generation.
Which is something people really latched on to for that too. You find fan art of him, he's going to be dressed as freaking Q. It's pretty good. There's a lot of that I've noticed.
But that's more of the people that actually watch the show
Yeah.
and of Next Generation. They're probably from the same vein that used to watch Gargoyles.
Yeah.
Which Gargoyles was voiced by a majority of the Next Generation crew.
Yeah, that's the thing. For every relatively innocent picture like that of Discord there, dressed as Q, you got like about 3 of Rainbow Dash and Twilight Sparkle, eating each other out. Or,
Yeah,
In human form or horse form?
yes, both.
Or human horse form. One
All
horse,
three.
one
all
human.
3 above.
All the above.
Would you find this disturbing too for the audience? Or do you find this, when you look at the pictures that are that are displayed here, and the little figurines, does the figures really say, fuck me?
No,
Robbie?
They don't. They don't
Apparently
at all.
to someone. That's
Robbie?
the thing.
You've made a lot of comments about you and ponies.
Yeah.
Ow.
Oh yeah. That's...
Yeah.
I mean, you're Mr. Fluttershy's my waifu.
No, not anymore. Remember.
Okay, that's even worse, if you ask me. That whole thing going on there. You can explain that if you would like to the audience.
Yes, explain the waifu thing.
Okay. Tony won Fluttershy as his waifu, and now he says that.
Didn't you just give it up without a fight, without a challenge? You just laid on the floor like a dirty condom.
Ow.
That's okay. He moves on to rarity here.
Ow.
But go on.
Yeah.
You seem to say that this doesn't exist, what Brandon pointed out, and Brandon did a search. You spend anywhere from 5 to 6 hours a day reading, looking at pictures, immersing in it, hoarding it.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
Explain to us this. And you're not interested in the show whatsoever. You're interested in what the fans are doing, what they're doing puerile and gross and disgusting just to satisfy a dark need inside of you. Maybe deep down inside, all the bronies want to destroy the innocence of the show because they don't believe in Santa anymore.
Wow. That is something to think about.
At least Star Trek, when you were saying it was there, Star Trek had Slash, but they never went into dark places with it. Mm-hmm. And yes, in this, as the show progressed, yes, maybe Kirk and Spock do have a lot of homoerotic tendencies. And as with one generation changing moral values and social closeness, 60s shows tend to become more and more homoerotic and less wholesome because the values and morals of society have changed. But the bronies are less than a year old. The My Little Ponies, the new version,
There shouldn't be this
there shouldn't be that sicko of stuff coming out.
Yeah. If this was,
And you worshiping it.
Yeah. So. Wow.
So as your closing statement, Brandon, what do you say about My Little Pony? Friendship is magical. Because remember, the show is about a moral, like He-Man and She-Ra.
Yeah, they even have a little segment at the end where...
She writes the letter.
Exactly. Which kind of mirrors the whole, G.I. Joe's...
Does it feel like...
thing,
Do you feel the bronies are watching the show then?
Not really. It's a lot of times when I've seen... I mean, don't get me wrong. There are, it's still a good amount of, nice, decent stuff with it. But a lot of times it seems like the show itself is pretty much exists just to get random screenshots to make weird pictures of it and such. A lot.
Or is it that your sensibility has changed due to you gotten older? Like, let's say if you watched this when you were watching Inuyasha, and them doing the same movement, you wouldn't notice the dirtiness, as you would call it, to the images and the motion of the horses.
Probably, so with that, yeah.
Because now you're more sensitive to it, due to all the other stuff you've seen and become jaded with society. Now let's move to Robbie.
Yeah, I have a lot to think about here because...
You were shot down?
No, yeah, kind of, because I realized, Brand does bring up a good point.
And you brought up no points to defend him?
Yeah, because I didn't realize how to defend it. It's hard to defend when he's actually correct.
That you're a sick fuck?
Oh,
And you should be shot and dragged out and behind a car for worshiping 9-year-old girl horses?
Oh my god. We're treading on territory that's already existent.
But they're 9-year-old girls.
No, they're not.